Good evening. It's Monday, May 1st, 2023, 6:25 p.m., and I'd like to call to order the Licensing Board of the City of West Bend. We have two agenda items on our agenda tonight, the first being approval of the Licensing Board regular minutes from April 17th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second by Butchlick and Zingsheim. Any questions, corrections? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our second agenda item is an extension of premise of La Cabana Restaurant at 1102 East Paradise for May 5th. It's a one-day extension for the purpose of a Cinco de Mayo event.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions, conversation on this one? If none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. With that, I will adjourn the Licensing Board. Thank you.
Good evening. I would like to call to order the Board of Public Works. We have three items on the agenda. Item number one, regular meeting for the Board of Public Works on March 20th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments or questions? There are none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number two, the Board of Public Works regular meeting, April 3rd, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments or questions? There are none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number three, award contract 2305, water utility pavement repairs at various locations. Good evening, Max.
Good evening. Thank you. This item is for our annual contract that we do for the water utility for pavement repairs. Throughout the year, the water utility goes and responds to water main breaks, leaks, etc. that they find throughout the city. And they have to excavate in the roads. And so following their excavation and the backfill, they need to patch those pavement areas. So we do an annual contract where the contractor would come and do the pavement, either asphalt or concrete patch, wherever those repairs have happened. So we bid the contract and we received two bids on April 14th, and they are listed in the memo. Primaris Electric of Menominee Falls appears to be the low bidder. They have not done work in the city prior, and so we checked references from communities, other communities where they did work. They have done work, both concrete and asphalt patches in those communities. We received positive feedback from all of them. And so at this time, our recommendation would be to award the contract to Primaris Electric in the amount of $107,650 as listed in their bid for work actually performed. We're also asking council to allow a contingency fund equal to 15% of the total bid. This is higher than our usual target of 5%, and that's because we don't know how many repairs we will have coming up for the rest of the year, and so we would like to have funds to cover any extras. That's the same process that we've used in past years. So an award of contract is attached if the board and council decide to award this contract.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments for Max? Max, thank you very much for the information. It was very helpful. And that I checked also on that 16%. That is just a common occurrence for water main break repairs, because if they have anything, then you're there. That there is money available to fix those right away as well. So
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Max. Being no further business before the Board of Public Works, I adjourn as chair.
The Finance Committee will come to order. We have 6 items on the agenda. Item number 1, the minutes for the meeting of March 6th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 2, the minutes for the regular Finance Committee meeting of April 3rd.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, the minutes for April 17th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4 is a resolution to accept Wisconsin Department of Transportation Airport Rescue Plan Act funding.
Motion to approve. Second.
We don't need any more information? Okay. Any questions for Mark? Good enough. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5, a fire department resolution accepting a donation from Mr. and Mrs. Melvin Walters.
Good evening. You have a resolution before you to accept the donation. Once again, it's a donation from Mr. and Mrs. Walters, who received free smoke detectors and CO detectors through our program. Kenny did a great job, also did the home safety survey. In appreciation, they donated $100. That money is going to go back into the smoke detector fund.
Motion to approve with the council's thanks.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And also from the fire department, award a contract for station number 3's Apparatus Bay resurfacing.
In the 2023 capital improvement budget is $36,000 to resurface the floor at the Apparatus Bay floor at station number 3. You see the 4 bids in front of you. The reason we're bringing this to council is because it's not the low bid. We are asking for the second lowest bid. It's within $500 of the low bid, but it uses a different kind of surface on it that's a little easier to clean. The low bid was the same one that did station number 1, and we're having a little issues with it keeping it clean because it's such a rough surface. So we're using a different company than for station 3.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments about this? Yes,
Just a
Alderman.
quick question about what is that, like some kind of resin or something that goes on the floor?
It's an epoxy, and then
Epoxy.
it has, this one at station 1 has flakes in it. This is a sandy, gritty kind of one, but it's a lower, it's not quite as rough. So it's a little easier when they take the floor cleaner over it.
Gotcha. Just curious.
Anything else? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. No further business for the Finance Committee. I adjourn.
Again, it's Monday, May 1st, 2023, and this is a meeting of the Common Council of the City of West Bend. More than 24 hours in advance of this meeting, notice of time, place, date, and subject matter of the meeting was posted in accordance to Wisconsin State Statute. I'd ask our clerk to confirm this meeting was properly posted.
Yes, I confirm.
Thank you. Please rise for a pledge.
With liberty and justice for all.
We do recognize a quorum tonight with all 8 aldermen present, and we'll take up our first 2 agenda items, the first one being the approval of Common Council regular meeting minutes from April 17th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We'll give the motion to Madl and second to Allen on that one. Any comments, corrections, questions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 is approval of Common Council organizational meeting minutes from April 17th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Allen and Madl. Any comments, questions, corrections? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to our consent agenda items 3 through 7.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Madl, and who else said it? Jed Dolnick, thank you. Any comments, discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our first agenda item for consideration, item number 8, is approval grant of privilege for the extension of a retaining wall into the North Main Street right-of-way for the 1800 North Main Street development of the State Bank of Newburg. Thank you, Mark.
Good evening. The State Bank of Newburg had a site plan approved by the Plan Commission the beginning of March. That site plan requires a retaining wall along the east edge of the site in order to handle up to about 11 feet of elevation change between the site's ultimate development and the Main Street sidewalk grade. The developer, because of the site constraints, wishes to construct the retaining wall partially within the city street right-of-way, or actually within the right-of-way of Main Street. The right-of-way is not currently the city's right-of-way, it's county right-of-way. In order to accomplish that, we'd like to grant, or ask you to grant a grant of privilege to allow the wall to occur within about the western 5 to 6 feet of the southern portion of that lot, and that would allow a more cost-effective two-step wall. And ultimately, we would come back once we obtain the right-of-way jurisdiction from the county for this area, and basically remove that portion and put the wall all within a private lot rather than within the right-of-way. But in order to keep that project going in a timely manner, we would ask that you grant the grant of privilege and within a specific area, and with the terms, with allowing the city administrator to execute an agreement with the parties for the terms of that grant of privilege. And ultimately, we'd bring it back to you for that future right-of-way release.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second on the floor. Any more comments, questions, discussion?
Just a little bit. So we're coming back after we see what the right-of-way exactly, where the parameter of that is?
We've met with the developers, designers, and the owners.
Yeah.
Late last week, came to terms that the amount of right-of-way release would be the same as this area of the grant of privilege, basically the western 5 to 6 feet of this southern portion. That would allow them to, but to do that release requires jurisdictional transfer for that right-of-way before we could release it.
Okay.
That will take some time because it takes action both by the county and this body.
Oh, okay, that's the part I wasn't
So what
sure
we'd like to
about.
do
Okay,
is
got it.
get the
Is this-
grant of privilege so that they can continue working.
Sure.
With the understanding that we would eventually release that.
And this isn't changing the aesthetic part of the design a whole lot, correct?
They compromised the location. They originally showed a 4-tier that went all the way up to the back of sidewalk.
Yeah.
The city engineer would prefer that not to be the way it would be.
Yeah.
They showed a potential version where they had basically a straight single retaining wall, 9 to 11 feet high on the southern portion. They'd rather not do that.
Yeah, no.
Aesthetically, it's a little less desirable, plus it also is a much more expensive version to do that. So they've come up with a 2-tiered wall that fits within that western 5 to 6 feet.
I saw one of the guys that was involved in that meeting, and they seemed pretty optimistic about it, so, yeah, good, awesome, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Procedurally, the county needs to transfer the jurisdiction, and then for the road vacation, we have to adopt a resolution, wait 45 days essentially, and then have a public hearing. So realistically, the road vacation isn't probably going to happen until August, depending on timelines. Just so this is the stopgap because we can't do that at this point. We can't even start the process until the county does the jurisdictional transfer.
Sure, but they
So-
can start their process.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
This is the grant of privilege. Even if the road vacation doesn't happen, they have the right to be in that area of the right-of-way. And that right-of-way up there is large, so.
Okay, we're just excited about this project. I want to make sure I understand what's going on. Thank you.
doing this.
Thank you.
Alderman Allen.
This is, I guess, a question to the attorney. Do we generally get are these approvals pretty much generally granted? In other words, the county's not going to play games and.
The county's already said that they don't have an interest in this specific right-of-way. So it's just procedural issues at the
Okay.
stage. I mean, this isn't necessarily saying that we have to do the vacation. This is giving them the right to occupy a portion of the road right-of-way. No different than I mean, different magnitude, obviously, but no different than like a carriage walk, and we're allowing them within our right-of-way. So
Okay.
this right now is just us saying, yes, you can place a retaining wall in the right-of-way. Down the road, it would be the process to do the road vacation, so.
All right, thank you.
We have a motion to approve by Madl and a second by Allen. Any more comments, questions, discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
We do have some business tonight that constitutes a closed session in pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.851E, which is the potential sale of public land at 1311 North 12th Avenue. With that, I'll entertain a motion to enter into closed session.
Motion to move into a closed session?
Second.
Thank you, Butchlick and Bergquist, and I'll ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderman Butchlick.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Bergquist.
Aye.
Alderman Sternig.
Aye.
Alderman Dolnick.
Aye.
Alderman Sparts.
Aye.
Alderman Madl.
Aye.
And Alderman Zingsheim.
Thank you. We are now in closed session, and we'll be going out the back door right there and meeting shortly. Thank you. All right, we're back from our closed session.
All right, so we're looking, we're looking for a motion to counter the offer as discussed in closed session with Jay to have, or the city administrator to have the authority to accept the counter offer.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Alan and Butchlick. Any comments, questions, discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Moving on to our reports. Our first report tonight is from Alderman Bergquist on the library board meeting.
Welcome, your first one. You're going to enjoy this one. Cool. Yeah. Cool. The last meeting of the library board was held on April 18th. As you know, the 18th was our organizational meeting. So I reviewed the video for the library board meeting and other emails from the library director to provide you this report. So on the agenda was the usual business, approval of the minutes from the month before, along with the monthly expenditures. Financial reports for March were given by our treasurer. The library director briefed the board on a proposal concerning naming rights for particular meeting rooms at the library. This included things like memorial plaques outside the rooms and the possibility of generating some revenue through donations from that. There was no action taken on that matter, but stay tuned for further discussion. Okay. Next was updates on the strategic plan, which centered on several goals envisioned by the staff. The goals included forming a committee to deal with fund development, such as the Greater Milwaukee Foundation that we had heard about the last month, and community engagement. The idea was to include stakeholders in these committees, people like, or things like community members, members of the board, and staff members. More to come on this topic. I think I did hear the word draft mentioned. I wasn't at the meeting, but I guess my name was mentioned. Also reported was that staff continues to evaluate the collection development and the space needs for it. Physical building requirements such as locations for different topics, shelving and room utilizations were discussed. Also presented as a goal was the development of staff retention strategy. The board we were assured that things were going well at the library with fewer employees leaving and more looking to promote from within to positions of greater responsibility. So that was good. The board president spoke to those present of the need to approve funding for the treasurer's bonding insurance. This is an annual occurrence which needs board approval. It was passed. The agenda items included discussion on new website development and a logo branding redesign. The current design was done in 2011, over a decade ago. 2011. Okay. There are new vendors available now with so much more content and better pricing that would help save money and freshen up the library's image in the World Wide Web and in the community. So that was good. Also was reviewed the city's audit of the library funding and spending. We thank Carrie for that and the finance department. The next meeting of the board is scheduled for May 16th. Any questions?
Very good, thank you. Our next report is from Alderman Madl on the Parks and Rec Commission meeting.
We did have a Parks and Rec Commission meeting on Thursday, April 27th. It was my first Parks and Rec Commission meeting, which was, I was so excited I forgot to take notes. So this is going to be a fairly short report. There was a few takeaways though. We did have commission elections and there was no change there. We welcomed a couple of new commissioners, Sarah Brott and myself. We did approve a couple of special events. It was sort of routine stuff that we do every year. We are doing an addition of a batting cage at Riverside Park, and that was one of the things I didn't write down what the group was that's doing that, but I'll talk about that in just a minute. There's also an ordinance change proposed talking about park hours, and we did go ahead and approve that. I'm sure we'll see that here at the council in the next couple meetings. And then there was a number of reports from the various department heads within the committee. And what occurred to me, listening to the chairman, the secretary, and a couple of the other folks, was that we just have a ton of people doing good work in this community for nothing. I mean, they're not getting paid to do it. They're collecting funds and they're creating cool things like batting cages and the golf swinging cage and all that kind of stuff. And I'm aware that this stuff exists in their community, and I'm a part of one of those organizations myself. So I know that I know the work that goes into doing that, and that's happening everywhere in our community. And I'm hearing about it in a committee like Parks and Rec, which is quality of life stuff, which is really what we're doing here. You know what I mean? It's just really neat to see that reinforced. So I'll have a much better report for you next time. I do apologize.
Great. Thank you. Future meeting calendar. The bid board meeting for tomorrow morning has been canceled. The Police and Fire Commission will meet tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. The Plan Commission will meet tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Fire and Police Commission are meeting again on Wednesday at noon. And then our next Common Council meeting with Public Works, Finance Committee, and Licensing Board is on May 15th. Any other announcements from the Common Council or city staff? Go ahead.
I'd like to remind citizens of West Bend that downtown is open. It's easy to walk. Go down, have a lot of fun, eat out. There's great restaurants. So.
Very good. Anybody else? With that, I will adjourn by the call of the chair. Thank you. Have a great night.